Today, I'm taking you to Jeju Island. Jeju Island is the Hawaii of Korea, and today I'm going to share my 4-day trip to Jeju Island. And yes, even though I'm a Korean, this is my very first trip to Jeju Island, so I'm super excited to share the tourist attractions that I took my family to and share with you where the locals go to eat, because some of the touristy spots are known to be super overpriced and kind of overrated. You need to watch this if you're planning a trip to Jeju Island or just to see how beautiful Jeju Island is and how delicious their cuisines are. Before we get started, I want to introduce you to Mr. Kim.
안녕하세요.
He was our guide in Jeju. He was born and raised there, so he took us to all the spots that he goes with his friends and family, so you know this is legit. Hi everyone, this is Helen and welcome to Modern Pepper. 안녕하세요, Modern Pepper의 헬렌입니다. So by the time we land in Incheon Airport and transfer over to Gimpo Airport, we land in Jeju Island mid-morning, completely jet-lagged. But Jeju Island greeted us with this amazing, beautiful, breathtaking views of the ocean, and this cool morning breeze was exactly what we needed for our jet lags. The beautiful lava stones that are everywhere on this coastal walk was literally taking my breath away. And this beautiful oceanfront walk is called Handam Coastal Walk, and it is a must visit for all tourists visiting Jeju Island. And after our coastal walk, we had our lunch at 임금님밥상. It is a restaurant known for grilled fish with side dishes called 생선구이 백반. And this restaurant is beloved by locals for its hearty meal, and all this food was literally 10,000 won per person. Yeah, that's a lot of food. The side dishes were freshly made with healthy local ingredients, and the grilled mackerel was cooked to perfection. You dip the moist mackerel in this soy sauce and wasabi mixture, and you have it with warm Korean rice. Oh my. It was just simply divine. I wish I could give you a bite of this. It was so delicious. And we also ordered Bulgogi Stew called 뚝배기 불고기. This 뚝배기 불고기 was loaded with more vegetables than bulgogi, but it was hearty, it was delicious, and it was light in taste. And the clear broth was, just so good with warm rice all mixed in together. Talk about your comfort food, this was it. I could see why this restaurant is so popular among the locals, especially the working class, for its excellent price, but the food was just so comforting, delicious, light, and I loved everything I ate. Now, if you want to learn how to make grilled mackerel and have it in this delicious Korean lettuce wrap, I have a recipe for that, as well as the 뚝배기 불고기 stew that you can make at home. The recipes will be listed in the description box below. After lunch, our guide, Mr. Kim, took us to an outdoor market called 오일시장. It's literally called 5th day market because it is only open once a week on the 5th day of the week. Now, these outdoor markets are called 시장, and every neighborhood in Korea has its own 시장, although many are kind of being replaced by super chain markets. And boy, the side dishes, the banchans you see right here, looked scrumptious. It smelled so good. I wanted to sample everything, but I behaved. I wasn't one of those tourists. Don't do that. Oh, all the fish smelled fresh. It didn't have that smelly, funky fish smell. Now, this pancake you see right here is a local food that you could only find in Jeju called BingTteok. It is a superfood and perfect for dieters. The pancakes are made with buckwheat flour and stuffed with blanched radish, seasoned with salt, sesame oil, and sesame seeds. It is simple and yet really yummy. Now, you can find BingTteok at any supermarket in Jeju or at any of Jeju's outdoor market. These beautifully wrapped oranges are Jeju's famous tangerines called 감귤. These tangerines are tangy, sweet, and have a refreshing, juicy taste, totally different from the tangerines here in the States, and our guide, Mr. Kim, only recommends eating these tangerines when it is in season, starting in November to early winter. Now, anytime you are at one of these local outdoor markets in Korea, I highly recommend going there hungry because you're going to want to eat their freshly made donuts and corn dogs straight out of the fryer. It is so warm. We gobbled them up so fast that I didn't even have time to film them. That's how delicious they were. And these freshly made traditional Korean cookies, ooh, you must try them. And for all the savory snacks like tteokbokki, spicy rice cakes, fish cakes, all kinds of Korean pancakes, and more fried food, your belly is going to be so happy and want to thank you. My husband and I woke up extra early to go find coffee, and we walked into a local bakery and decided to feast on pastries for breakfast. By the way, Koreans, we don't eat pastry for breakfast. Pastries are enjoyed as afternoon snacks. No matter where you are in Korea, I highly recommend checking out the local bakeries as opposed to the big chain bakeries like Paris Baguette, which by the way is delicious, but local bakeries will carry different varieties of pastries, as you can see right here, where you will not be able to just get one. And I'm serious, you won't be able to just get one. All right, day 2, our first activity was going to this 3D museum. It's raining today, so it was a perfect day to go to the museum. This 3D museum was so fun, both for my kids and for myself and my husband. I highly recommend it. From the 3D museum, we went to a figure museum. This museum was super duper fun. Every movie or TV characters that you can imagine are all here, either in life-size forms or in miniature figurines. And my favorite room was the mini stormtroopers room. So cute. And I also had my Game of Thrones moment, sitting at the Iron Throne. Then for lunch, we went to a bibimbap specialty restaurant called 참솔식당. This restaurant has been open for over 2 decades. It is a farm-to-table restaurant, and it is beloved by Jeju locals. Now, with your bibimbap, you get a choice of white rice or barley rice, boribap. Look at all the sides that comes with your bibimbap meal, and you also get to pick either grilled mackerel or stir-fried pork, or you could order both as your additional entrees. Bibimbap topping comes on a platter like this. You could pick and choose what you want to add to your bibimbap bowl. So Mr. Kim, our guide, explained to me that real authentic Jeju cuisine is just mildly seasoned. It dates back to when Jeju Island was very isolated, so you didn't really have much access to seasonings and other ingredients that you would typically find in the mainland. And bibimbap vegetables that you see right here, it tasted like it was just blanched in salt water. This was just very bland and clean tasting. So after I loaded up my bibimbap bowl with all the toppings and the gochujang bibimbap sauce, mixed it all up, it was delicious. It had a different, clean, really yummy vegetable taste that I really enjoyed thoroughly. And one of the highlights for me was this side dish. It was warm tofu seasoned with ssamjang mixed in all together. It literally hit the spot for me. I loved it. And Mr. Kim suggested that I make myself a bibimbap sam with this delicious tofu ssamjang. Oh, I cannot explain. It was just so good. Now, if seeing all this bibimbap is making you hungry, make sure to go to youtube.com/modernpepper and click on my playlist tab for bibimbap recipe playlist so that you can make this at home and enjoy it. And you could also make this spicy pork stir fry. I have a recipe for that, and the link will be in the description box below. So after lunch, we went to Jeju's oldest Buddhist temple called Yakcheonsa.
So we are at a Buddhist temple called Yakcheonsa. It is the biggest and the oldest Buddhist temple in Jeju Island. It's about 30 years old, and oh, it is so gorgeous as you can see. And for my vegan friends, if you are ever lucky enough to have a meal at a Korean Buddhist temple, it is the ultimate vegan Korean cuisine that is super delicious.
I remember visiting many Buddhist temples as a kid with my grandmother, and I still have fond memories of how peaceful and how relaxing I felt as soon as I entered the temple grounds. Not to mention how beautiful the temple looks both on the inside and outside. Remember that once you enter the temple grounds, it is a quiet, whisper-only kind of environment. So don't be that obnoxious tourist, please. Korean Buddhist temple leadership is known for being very influential power brokers. Yes, they wield a lot of power and influence and act as mediators for powerful executives and politicians in Korea. It's a known fact. And for dinner, my husband and I decided to ditch our kids and go out for some beer and fried chicken. And this fried chicken restaurant called YeeDoTongDak is a legendary fried chicken place that locals go to. And yes, when we walked into the restaurant, even though my husband and I are both Koreans, we stood out like sore thumbs. We just look like tourists. I have to say, my honest opinion, this place, was different. It takes the bomb. It takes the trophy. The seasoning rub that they put on the chicken was bar none. So flavorful, and you could tell that they put a lot of love into it. I asked the owner very nicely, "What did you put in there that tastes so different?" And she looked up and gave me a big smile and said, "I cannot tell you." And I don't blame her. Now, if you want to learn how to make Korean fried chicken at home, I have an extra crispy Korean fried chicken recipe that also includes pickled radish, chicken mu, and also Korean fried chicken wings with two sauces, the non-spicy version and the spicy version. The recipe videos will be linked below, so check it out. Now, you also need to check out my other vlogs of Korea. First is Insider's Guide to Foods in Seoul, so where to go and what to eat in Seoul. 2 is my 3-day trip outside of Seoul to Busan, Jeju, and Yeosu for their famous local eats. 3 is must-see tourist sites in Seoul. And 4th is Seoul shopping, which includes budget-friendly shopping as well as luxury brand shopping. And last is my hometown, Sokcho, the beach town that I grew up in. And it's the famous beach town that everyone flocks to for lots of fun in the sun. I want to tell you, all these vlogs are coming from your Korean friend, not a foreigner who's visiting Korea for the first time and creating a guide for you. Just saying. So make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell. All right, now back to our Jeju Island trip. This is day 3 and we had a late start today, so we're actually starting our day with our lunch, and we're in this town called Hamdok, and we're at a specialty restaurant, and this restaurant specializes in this dish called Guk. So I will go inside and show you what it's all about. This is only available in Jeju Island. All right, as soon as we sat down, Mr. Kim showed us how the locals enjoy Mackerel, that's unfiltered rice wine, for lunch. So they make it a little bit on the lighter side by adding 칠성 사이다, which is basically 7-Up or Sprite, with your Mackerel, so you don't get as drunk.
And then her expenses.
We first started with an appetizer called 멸튀김, which is your fresh baby anchovy stuffed with non-spicy green peppers, then coated with your panko powder or pangaru in Korean, lightly deep fried, and then you dunk it in this bubbling hot, super salty doenjang fishy sauce. This 멸튀김 was one of the highlights of the foods that I had in Jeju. I loved it. Here is our fish stew called kakjegi-guk. The name of this fish is called kakjegi. It looks similar to mackerel fish, but it's smaller. And unlike mackerel fish, kakjegi has very mild, almost non-fishy taste. And this fish is local to Jeju Island, is cooked with 뚝배기, which is your baby Napa cabbage leaves, making the broth super clean and mild tasting. And when I mean clean tasting, you cannot taste that fishy aftertaste whatsoever in the broth. Look at how clear the broth is. It was so refreshing. Oh my god, it was your ultimate comfort food. I loved it.
Cheers.
어우, 너무 맛있어. 막걸리 튀겨라. Oh, delicious.
And when you have your rice drenched in this broth together, oh, I cannot explain to you. This was one of those restaurants where you feel so lucky and blessed in life to have eaten at. It was one of those restaurants. I thoroughly enjoyed it. Then after lunch, we went for a beautiful walk by the ocean called Seongsan Sunrise Peak. Seongsan Ilchubong. Absolutely breathtaking greenery surrounded by blue, crisp ocean. It literally took my breath away.
Our guide told us to avoid the tourist area, which everyone's walking to right here. This mountain. Oh, right here. But we're walking the opposite way because the opposite way, he said, most tourists don't know. So it's a lot more to see and it's peaceful and the roads are empty. So we're heading that way, the opposite direction of where all the tourists are going. It is gorgeous here. So all coastal sea towns in Korea are this beautiful. I mean, Jeju is beautiful too, but I grew up in a coastal town, so this reminds me of my hometown in Sokcho, which we're gonna go to soon too.
And you could also sit at these oceanfront cafes and just be so thankful that you are in Jeju Island and having a moment to yourself. And for our evening activity, Mr. Kim took us to screen golf. Screen golf is your indoor simulated golf, which is uber popular in Korea. And you also get a private room to use with your friends and family, which makes this a great experience when you are in Korea. So I highly recommend it. And it is so popular that anywhere you go in Korea, you'll find a screen golf place. And you could also order food, light snacks, and drinks. And screen golf is way, way cheaper than playing real golf because tea time in Korea is outrageously expensive. So Mr. Kim is an avid golfer. Even my husband's like, wow, this guy is so good. I want to be like him. So if you're looking for a proper golf tourism in Jeju, get in touch with Mr. Kim, DM him to his Instagram. Now, while my husband and the three boys were playing golf, Mr. Kim took me to a legendary noodle shop for lunch. This noodle shop called ChamSol식당 is a legendary place that has been open since the 80s. And their noodle specialty dish is called 고기 국수. It's basically very mild anchovy broth with very, very thin slices of pork belly with somen noodles. Oh, so simple. And the pork, you would think that it would taste kind of heavy, but it wasn't. It was like paper thin, so light and chewy. And I usually don't like pork that much. For this dish, ooh, it hit the spot and I enjoyed it thoroughly.
The broth is so clean. Oh, this is really yummy. And then with the pork belly slices.
Now, when you eat noodles, you must pick it up with both hands and slurp the broth. That is the proper way to enjoy your noodles Korean style. And in the afternoon, we went to Osolok Tea Museum. Green tea from Jeju Island is Korea's pride and joy. That's how delicious green tea from Jeju Island is. This Osolok Tea Museum was fantastic. The interior of the museum was so beautifully designed, and you get to sample different varieties of green tea. And the green tea varieties that I tasted here were so different from other green teas I've had. I loved it. So much that I brought back many bags of green tea back home. Now, if you can't get to Jeju Island, go to Hyundai department store in Seoul, and they also carry Osolok tea that you could bring back home. We also got to taste green tea soft serve at the museum, and it was unlike any green tea soft serve or ice cream I've ever had. It was just so divine, and you couldn't even taste the sweetness. So just imagine that. It was so good.
So we're at the Green Tea Museum. It is beautiful. It's not too big, but it's a nice place to walk around, and totally worth the visit. And the green tea was delicious.
And the exterior of the museum was sprawling with beautiful green tea leaf plants everywhere. And the compound is so big that you could walk around and just take in the scenery. Great place to take photos and for your family to spread out and not be in each other's hairs. And Halla Mountain, Hallasan. Now on this trip, we didn't plan on the hike, which is about 4 hours each way to reach the top of Halla Mountain, but instead we did a stop at one of the few observatory where you can see Hallasan. Our guide, Mr. Kim, said he did the hike a few times as a Jeju Islander, and he said that the winter hike he did was the most beautiful, seeing the volcano cradle covered in snow. Now, Jeju is known for its famous black pork. Nope, it isn't wild boar. It is actually farmed black pork. So for our last dinner in Jeju, we had black pork barbecue. We ordered the non-marinated pork as well as the marinated pork. Here the owner is telling me to sprinkle the salt on the non-marinated pork as I'm grilling. Now for those of you that are hardcore pork lovers, you can order 오겹살, which is different from your regular cut of pork, has 5 layers. Meat, layers of fat, plus the skin of the pork makes it taste more chewy and more flavorful.
I want to get some bulgogi.
The pork tastes really tender. It's delicious.
Now, if you can't get to Jeju Island, there is a delicious Jeju-style black pork specialty restaurant in Seoul, in Gangnam, that I highly recommend. Watch my Insider's Guides to Foods in Seoul vlog for more.
I want you to go to youtube.com/modernpepper and make sure to check out my authentic Korean recipes that you could easily replicate at home. So I will see you there. Now, if you're planning a trip to Jeju Island, I highly recommend hiring a local guide like Mr. Kim. And Mr. Kim is a native Jeju Islander, so he knew the island like the back of his hand, literally. And Jeju Island, as much as it's beautiful, because it's such a sought-after destination, there's a lot of tourist traps. Yes, even for Koreans. So you could talk to Mr. Kim, DM him directly through his Instagram, and here he is.
안녕하세요.
I'll take good care of you.
I want to thank you for watching today, and if you enjoyed watching today's video, I want to kindly ask you to click on that thumbs up icon and make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell, and perhaps share this video with your family and friends. 여러분 오늘 재밌게 보셨으면 꼭 좋아하는 버튼과 구독 버튼도 눌러주세요. 다음 영상에서 꼭 뵙겠습니다. Alright folks, I will see you in my next video right here.